you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Well, topic of the day is pretty much the same as it is every first Monday of November for as long as I've been doing this. Every first Saturday in November, LSU and BAMA play, which means that every Monday we're reacting to BAMA LSU. There's always a lot at stake. And this year, there's obviously no difference, right? Both teams came into this game in the top 15. Both of them, I think, at the very least, in LSU's case, the fringes of the college football playoff conversation, both very much in the SEC West title chase along with Ole Miss. So there's a lot at stake, as there always is. This year, I think there was a little extra juice. Remember, Brian Kelly comes to the SEC last year, year one, beats Alabama at home, final play of the game. And everyone's starting to say, what's going on there? Is LSU might finally have the perfect coach for that program. They've won big before, despite a Coach O, despite LS Miles. And so there was so much at stake coming into this game. Incredible game, fun game, but bluntly, played out a lot. Like a lot of the previous Alabama games this season, as Alabama wins 42-28, largely shutting down LSU in the second half. And again, like I said, this game really ultimately played out a lot like pretty much every Alabama game this year, right? Both teams come out. Obviously, the offenses are on script. They're doing what they want to do. Alabama running the ball with Jalen Milroe, their starting quarterback. He has been incredible as the season has gone on. Runs the ball, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. You look up, all of a sudden, Jalen Milroe has 4 rushing touchdowns. I joked on Twitter, he's the modern day Al Bundy. You get 4 touchdowns in a single game, baby. Al Bundy's a legend. Jalen Milroe's a legend. 4 touchdowns for Jalen Milroe. By the way, I understand nobody under 30 understood that Al Bundy joke, but bear with me. I enjoyed it. Okay. So Jalen Milroe's doing his thing, and the LSU offense is largely doing their thing. Jaden Daniels is throwing the ball around to that elite wide receiver core, Kyron Lacey, Brian Thomas, the stud Malik Neighbors, and it's a back and forth game, 21-21 going into the half. And then LSU scores a touchdown, and it eventually ends up being 28-28 early in the third quarter. Then Alabama's defense, like it's done every single game over the last 5-6 weeks since the Texas loss, tightens up. LSU can't move the ball. Now, I will say, admittedly, LSU fans will say, well, there was a cheap shot on Jaden Daniels. It was a cheap shot. But I don't think it altered the game. I don't think LSU would have won if that play hadn't happened. I don't think it was intentional. Dallas Turner is the best player on that defense. By all accounts, a great kid, NFL future ahead. Alabama's playing for an SEC West title. He's not trying to hurt Jaden Daniels. He's not trying to get knocked out of the game. He's not trying to get knocked out of next game when he would be suspended for the first half. It was unfortunate. You feel bad for Jaden Daniels. I feel terrible, but I don't think it was intentional. I don't think it cost LSU the game, as Alabama pulls away late and wins 42-28. And as the game went final, I'll be blunt. Thought about a couple things. With the win, Alabama, of course, controls its own destiny in the SEC West. Technically, they either need Ole Miss to lose to Georgia or they need to beat Kentucky next week to officially clinch another West title. But barring a shocking meltdown, they will represent the West in Atlanta in a few weeks. And of course, it goes without saying, a team that everybody left for dead is going to win the SEC West, could win the SEC, and very much is in the playoff picture. And when I think about this game, that's what stands out. Is 1, never doubt the GOAT, Nick Saban. But 2, I truly believe that this is Nick Saban's best coaching job of his career, or certainly the best coaching job he has had at Alabama. So let's break it down. And when we break it down, let's be honest. You can't go back to Saturday night. Can't go back to before the bye against Tennessee or Texas A&M. To fully appreciate what Nick Saban has done, I think you really have to go back to that loss to Texas. And in the days after, what was the conversation? Conversation was they don't have a quarterback. The dynasty's dead. There's no way they're getting through this season without more losses. They lose to Texas at home And maybe Texas is really good, and they've proven to be. Credit to Texas. But they still got Ole Miss. They still got LSU. They still got Tennessee, even Texas A&M. There is no way they are running the table. Most specifically, think about how chaotic the quarterback situation was. Jalen Milroe, benched after the Texas game. Then you go into that South Florida game. Tyler Buchner plays. He does not play well. He gets benched. Ty Simpson comes in. Ty Simpson finishes the game. And then after the game, you announce that you're going back to Jalen Milroe on Monday. Now, I think in hindsight, we can all kind of agree that Nick Saban treated that essentially like a preseason game. I don't know whether he really needed to see Tyler Buchner and Ty Simpson in game action, or whether he just wanted the fans to see them in game action so he knew that they weren't the guys. But go back to that moment in time, and everybody had the same comment. Now, I never said the dynasty is dead, and I never said that their season is dead, but I did say, like, this does not look good. I made some jokes. I said that Nate Oates runs the campus now. I said it's a basketball school now. But I think we all agreed, like, oh my God, how is Nick Saban going to piece this together? And so when I say this is Nick Saban's best coaching job, why I say it's his best coaching job is pretty simple. This is not a year where he has overwhelming talent that's significantly better than everybody else. Now, I understand if you look at recruiting rankings, he might have the most talented roster in the country. Matter of fact, according to the blue chip ratio by 24/7 Sports, he does have the most talented roster. But it is a roster that is young in certain places, inexperienced in certain places, and not up to the Alabama standard in others. We know what that is. Jalen Milroe is not the traditional Alabama quarterback. He's not Bryce Young. He's not Tua. He's not Mac Jones. And that's okay, because he has evolved, and we're going to talk about him in a minute. But why I believe this is Nick Saban's best coaching job is because, and we've talked about this, coaching isn't just having the best players. It isn't just rolling the ball out and saying, go make plays. It is looking at each individual group of guys, 85 guys in football, 13, 14, 15 guys in basketball, and saying, who are my specific guys this year? And how do I take advantage of their unique talents to get the best result possible? And so that is why I think this is Nick Saban's best coaching job, because I'm sure he had a vision of how he wanted to coach this team in April and in May and in June and in July and in August. And then he got to September and he lost to Texas, and he realized whatever he thought this was going to be, he's going to have to change it up on the fly. Because Jalen Milroe is not a pocket passer. That's okay. Doesn't make him a bad human being. Doesn't make him a bad quarterback, as we saw on Saturday night. Don't have elite pass blocking. The O-line is still inexperienced. They're starting a true freshman on the offensive line at tackle in Caden Proctor. And so what he realized was, I have a great defense. I have a great run game. We have to build game plans to have success with the skills that we have. And so you look at this team, and I think they've evolved and gotten better and gotten more confident and gotten more trust in this system. So, by the way, it's not just Nick Saban. It's the players buying in. It's the players being invested. I'll say this. I don't know if I talked about it on, whatever it was, Friday's show. There was a video last week. Nick Saban's birthday is on Halloween. And there was a video of him walking into the team meeting room and everybody wearing like little birthday hats, and singing happy birthday to him. And you could see how invested they were and how much they love him and how much Nick Saban, you could tell, loves this group of guys. And so credit to them for buying in, and credit to him for getting the most out of this group. Different kind of quarterback, not a great offensive line. The wide receiver group, I still don't think we really know, but you do have a great defense. You can run the football, and that's how you're going to have to win games. And that's what they've done all year long that has put them in this position. By the way, speaking of that defense, let me say this. There's a first time for everything in life. I don't think I've ever spent any episodes in November stumping for somebody to win the Broyles Award, which goes to the top assistant coach in college football. Okay, I don't think I've ever done a Broyles Award take. But Kevin Steele, Alabama's defensive coordinator, like, this guy is unbelievable. And for people who don't know the backstory, remember, Alabama, both coordinators left last offseason. They were basically forced out, but it doesn't really change the fact that both the coordinators left. And Alabama kind of went through the phases trying to figure out who the guy was. And they ended up getting Kevin Steele as their defensive coordinator. Older guy, had worked for Saban before, previously been a head coach, was at Miami last year. And there were a lot of people, myself absolutely included, like, oh, that feels pretty uninspired. Does this mean that nobody wants to work for Nick Saban, that he's run out of guys, that the young guys don't believe in him anymore? It just felt like kind of a retread, bring it on your buddy because there's no real better option. Well, Kevin Steele has been unbelievable as this team's defensive coordinator, okay? You know, in their 4 biggest games since the Texas game, okay? Ole Miss at home, Texas A&M on the road, Tennessee at home, LSU at home. Their 4 biggest games since Texas. And by the way, even the Texas game, they led in the 4th quarter. People forget that. And then the defense fell apart because the offense kept going 3 and out. But in their 4 biggest games since then, again, Ole Miss at Texas A&M, what was the other one? Tennessee and LSU at home. Alabama has given up a combined, let me say it one more time, a combined 13 points in the second half, in 8 quarters of football in the second half. So remember, coming in, everybody's on script. Everyone scripts their first series or 2. Once you get past that, it's kind of a chess match of who's going to do what and how they're going to do it and what's it going to look like. In second halves against the 4 best teams they've played in the last 2 months, Alabama's given up 13 points. That is unbelievable, and it is a testament to the fact that this is the right guy. This is the coordinator that whether we thought it was, whether they wanted it, whether whatever, Kevin Steele, unbelievable. That's your first ever Torres take on the Broyles Award, but he is deserving. Finally, let me wrap by saying this, man. Listen, you talk about an all-time where Aaron was wrong. Jalen Milroe, how can you not root for this kid? First of all, by all accounts, everybody in the building loves him. His teammates love him. The coaches love him. Very coachable, whatever. But I, like everybody else, gave up on this kid after the Texas game. I said, you can't win with him. I said, play Ty Simpson. Play through play Tyler Buckner, excuse me. Play through the mistakes. You have to not, it can't be Jalen Milroe. And I bring it up because this kid has gotten better every single game. Every single game you can see him more confident, more willing to buy into the game plan, more a belief in the game plan. He was the best player on the field on Saturday night. Now, Malik Neighbors is great. Jaden Daniels is great. I don't want to discredit any of those guys. Don't want to discredit the guys on Alabama's defense. But Jalen Milroe, LSU had no answer for him. 55 yards rushing. As I said, the Al Bundy 4 touchdowns in a single game. And he had one play. Did you see this play? I think it was mid to late second quarter, 14-14 game. There was a play where I was just like, this kid gets it. This kid's confident. He rolled out to his left. Okay, rolled out to the left. And he had one of those plays where it looked like it was going to be like a fake throw, essentially, or it was going to be a throw. And what he did was he ran on an angle towards the sideline, froze the entire defense, and then boom, cut it upfield and sprints in the end zone for a touchdown. And I was like, that's a guy that, you know, to use the analogy I just made, he's playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers. He knew that the defense knew what he was going to do. And he just said, screw it. I'm going to fake all of y'all out. And that was when I tweeted swaggy Jalen Milroe, because that's the kind of play a swaggy player makes, a Johnny Manziel makes, a Cam Newton makes. And I'm not saying he is those guys. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you have to have supreme confidence in yourself and in your system and in everything. And so much credit to Jalen Milroe. He's one of the most improved players I've ever seen in a single season. And so you look at Alabama, and I'm bringing full circle. Best coaching job in Nick Saban's career, at least at Alabama, bar none. I've watched every season of Saban's career. I basically started in the media right around when he got there, maybe a few years after. And he's had the most talented team. He's had the best defense. He's had the best offense. I mean, there's been so many iterations of Nick Saban Alabama football. But this year, he has completely built a team that is invested in his style of play. And I give him so much credit. And the crazy part is, after everybody gave up on him, guess what? Beat Kentucky this week. You officially win the SEC West. You're going to Atlanta. Your final 3 games at Kentucky, Chattanooga at home, at Auburn. You win those 3. You're playing probably Georgia, almost certainly Georgia. You win that game, you're going to the college football playoff. Now, I guess there's a scenario where whatever, like something weird could happen. Texas gets in, Texas runs the table, whatever. If you're 12-1, Alabama, you win the SEC, you're going to the college football playoff. By the way, I'm rooting for it because Alabama was my in my national championship game in the preseason. But for this team to come as they have, just unbelievable. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say like I'm choking up thinking about it. But how about the GOAT Nick Saban? Just another unbelievable season. This is his best coaching job.